Wow, it's day 8. Can't believe it. We're here already, FCF. We've been looking at God's use of what we might think are insignificant things. Sometimes it's insignificant things, meaning ourselves. Now we're closing out. This is day 8, and I'm going to throw one at you today that is truly unusual. And we're going to have to stretch a little bit to even accept this one. This insignificant thing that God uses to bring very significant things in us and through us. But here's the catch about this insignificant thing. This is an insignificant thing that we don't want, that we don't like, that is uncomfortable, that is undesirable. It's the thing that we may even puzzle over and beg God to deliver us from. Let me read you from the book of 2 Corinthians, the Apostle Paul writing chapter 12. And a little background. In 2 Corinthians, Paul has shared a lot of personal experiences. He shared the fact that he was caught up into heaven and heard things that no human should perhaps hear, and great revelations have been given him. I mean, let's face it, the Spirit of God chose to write 13 books in the New Testament that we now have through the Apostle Paul. So he was given great privilege, great miraculous experiences, great revelations of God that no human had ever received before. Let me pick up 2 Corinthians 12, verse 7. This is Paul talking very biographically. To keep me from becoming conceited, let's look at that word, conceited, proud, puffed up, whatever. To keep me. So here's Paul the Apostle who at this stage in his life had served Jesus for over 20 years, but he recognized that pride could work its way into his own life, that it was always a danger. To keep me from becoming conceited, because of the surpassingly great revelations, there was given me, notice it's given, it's like a gift. There was given me a thorn in my flesh. What is this thorn in his flesh? He explains, a messenger of Satan to do what? What's the messenger of Satan to do? To torment me. Pause. Here's the greatest servant of God that I believe, that I believe God ever had, and a gift was given him is the context by God. And the gift is the messenger of Satan. We don't know exactly what that means, but he does explain it was sent to torment him. Torment, folks, we all know what torment is. Torment is pain. Torment is that thing that brings us to the end of ourselves. Torment is that thing we want to stop, but it doesn't stop. It just cranks on and on. Let me read on. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Paul's response, therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. Verse 10, that is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. That's wide. For when I am weak, then I am strong. This is really powerful. The insignificant thing here, it's not just insignificant, it seems like an error. It seems like something that God would protect us from. And yet the context says it's literally a gift that God gave to keep Paul weak and humble and dependent and pliable and useful. In other words, God knew Paul's heart, and that above all things, he wanted to be useful to God. And for that to take place, the insignificant, undesirable thing that Paul needed was something that caused him such torment, he pleaded with God 3 times. And God's answer to his prayer was no. It's better for you. My grace will be sufficient. Just lean on me. Endure the torment, Paul, because it will keep you weak. It will keep you humble. It will keep you dependent. It will keep you flexible. It will keep you gentle. It will keep you sympathetic, empathetic. I'll be able to do so much more. Paul, you said you really just want to see me glorified. You want to see my work go forward. You want more than anything, Paul, to be used to the most, to the max. Well then, Paul, I'm answering your prayer, but the prayer is something that might look insignificant and undesirable. It's the thorn, Paul. You need the thorn. You hate the thorn, Paul, but you need the thorn. Trust me. Trust me. It will be worth it. Now, we close out these 8 days where we see how God uses so many things that we easily overlook, things that we feel are inadequate for the task, the challenge, whatever it may be. But then there's this. There's this part that just is jarring in how contradictory it is to the way we tend to think. I mean, we tend to think, hey, if I'm God's child and He loves me, He's going to use His power to protect me and to comfort me, and never would He allow me to be tormented. Certainly He wouldn't let Satan torment me. But this verse says, in fact, that's exactly what God did, because God cares more about the desire of our heart. You got to hear this. He cares more about the desire of our heart than He does our immediate comfort. The desire of Paul's heart was to be useful to God to the utmost. And God knew that that couldn't happen unless the torment was sufficient to break Paul down and to bring him to a place of weakness and dependence. And so God allowed a series. I mean, the list, he talks about insults, he talks about difficulties, he talks about persecutions, he talks about weakness. It's not just one thing. Yeah, there's this messenger of Satan, but there's all these other things that keep Paul in the state where the desire of his heart can be realized, the desire of his heart to see Christ honored, glorified, to see the gospel spread to the max, to see believers, followers of Christ built up, to see churches strengthened. God answered his prayer, but the answer was the thorn. And maybe some of you that are listening today, you're in a great deal of confusion and you're in a great deal of pain. You're boxed in. You feel painted into a corner. You feel there's no end, there's no answer, there's no solution. There's just pain, and you don't know when or if it's ever going to go away. But you really, with all your heart, you want to serve God and you want to see His kingdom expanded to the greatest degree in you, through you, and in the world. You got to hear the Spirit of God say to you what He said to Paul. My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made. My power is made perfect in weakness. I'm sorry for being a blubbering fool here on the last day of our journey. Can't help it. Just have a lot of strong feelings about this portion of Scripture. I hope maybe it comes like medicine to the soul of some of you that may need to hear this. The thorn is not insignificant. It's the thing that's going to allow you to be all that you want to be for the sake of Christ in His kingdom. Thank you for taking this 8-day journey with me, and I look forward to our next 8-day journey to come soon. Thank you.